Davison here. I am with the Scrapstorians team, and today I am here to bring you a process video as part of my role as a sparkler with the Spiegelmom Scraps design team. And today I am playing with the Green Galore sequin mix. So think greens, little baby leaves in there, a little bit of gold bits. It's absolutely fabulous. And so I'll quickly get caught up to my video here, but ultimately what I have here is a piece of Vicky Bouton's watercolor foundations paper, and I have put on top of it a mix of Lindy's magical stamp shaker stuff. I have Lederhosen Laurel, I have Cathedral Pines Green, I have Time Travel Teal, as well as I've got a couple of the Starburst squirts in the color is Emerald A. And what I did is I just created a bit of a mess on the background there, put a whole bunch in the middle of the page, watered it, and then just kept tilting the page until ultimately the ink or the liquid stopped running. And so what I'm going to do with that as my foundation is I am going to make a 12 by 12 sequin shaker pocket. So I took, I have a Studio Calico pre-cut cut file in the chevron there that you saw. And what I did is I took it out of its plastic packaging. I put that background paper inside of the plastic packaging, and then I used my sewing machine to cut the plastic or to sew the plastic packaging direct onto my background on three sides, and then I poured almost all of the Green Galore sequins in, less a couple that I'll use to embellish in there, and then I sewed the rest of the edges. So I've got 4 edges. It's a big sequin pocket. And then I also took that pre-cut cut file there and I just did a quick stitch all the way around the outside, trying to give the impression that I sewed the cut file onto the background, when in fact I think it would be too thick for my sewing machine. So I just want it to look like I did. And then you see here, I'm actually stapling it on there. So it's the impression I've sewed all those sequins in with a bit of plastic, but really I've sewed them independently and then just stapled them. And so here you can see I'm just cutting off the little bit of the background that's showing on the outside of the cut file. Basically my background's ready to go. And I'm going to be using these 2 pictures of me and my husband golfing. It's my first time golfing in 2 years. I didn't get to golf one time last year, and our first time out this year. And it's actually like a social distancing, physical distancing friendly sport. And the golf courses didn't close here in British Columbia, Canada. So we took advantage last weekend in like super beautiful weather and got a golf game in, which just felt so normal and nice. So inspired by the Green Galore, because it is just absolutely fabulous and so perfect for golf, I've actually just gone through my little stash of Elle Studio stuff and pulled out all the green bits, like anything that is either like a true forest green or that is like an off green, like a bit of that teal color there that you can see I'm ripping right now. And I'm just going to do a bit of a monochromatic so that the white of the cut file really pops. The green and the gold in the sequin mix really shows behind. I don't want to kind of take the show away from the sequins, and then just do a bit of a layering here of a bunch of little things of various Elle Studio bits and bobs. So I'm using some of the You Are Loved die cuts from Elle Studio. If you can hear the packaging, I just always bring out the packaging when I'm recording. Some of the Shine die cuts from Elle Studio. And then those are the papers from either of those collections that I'm just ripping up there, just to kind of keep that green look. And then that little heart label there was on one of the 3x4 cards, like one of the pocket cards, and I just cut it apart because I really like the green. And then the acrylics there are 2 different ones that I bought from Elle Studio. One is Life in a kind of a scripty font, and the other one says Right Now, and it just seemed quite fitting to put those together. And if one of the things I noticed about Elle Studio is that they always do these kind of title builders concepts where there's like different scripts and they're all kind of nested together and fabulous. So I wanted to play on that a little bit as well. So here I am just kind of going through bits and bobs and just layering up and finding little pieces to stick here and there. I have to tell you, this came together pretty quick, partially because I was just sticking to like one color, right? Like when the Green Galore sequin mix was my inspiration, and I'm just going to stick with that and play with it. it's funny watching this now. I wish I would have left the tag there because I think it looked really good. But anyway, it looks fine where it ended up anyway. But I love when you look back or kind of take a step back and see what it looks like. So again, I did use 2 different die cuts. So this one I think is the You Are Loved die cuts, and there's a few little green pieces in there. I pulled up 2 hearts because, well, there's 2 of us, and I always just use 2 hearts because I think it's cute. From that there, and then I also do set those aside, and this is when I go into the shine on die cuts here, the shine die cuts, and they've got a bunch of, again, Elle Studio is kind of in the same color scheme, so it's really easy to mix and match some of them in there. So I just wanted to kind of pull off just those green bits that I liked. So debated that label. I was going to do a whole bunch of labels down that side and do my journaling there, but I ended up not using any other than that one little guy that I cut from the Pocket Life card. And here I am just auditioning some more hearts because you can never have enough of those. I did put a little tiny circle beside the picture of our feet there, which just says hugs and kisses, which is cute. And then I am always a sucker for phrase stickers. I'm not going to lie to you. I love a good phrase sticker or phrase die cut. So you can see there I'm trying a couple to see what those look like. So I've gone through that kit, and then now I've also pulled out, liking that little scallop banner underneath the Right Now. It actually comes from when Elle Studio used to do 12 by 12 paper. So this is a time ago. I don't think they do them anymore. The Live, Love, Laugh collection, Live, Laugh, Love collection. And it was the Pennants, am I saying that right? Not penance, but pendants. The paper, and they just had a couple of tones of green, and I only have a scrap left, as you can see, just that little piece there that's sitting on just to the right of me, and so I just cut those up and created just those 2 little scallop banners just to put at the bottom there, which I thought was a cute little touch. You know, there's always a reason you keep those tiny scraps, right, when they've got something like that on them. And then, you know, building on sort of that phrase idea, because I love them and I love a good pop of white. I did pull out the Elle Studio, the I Adore You stickers, and these are really meant as Valentine's Day. Some of them actually say like Happy Valentine's Day and stuff like that. But I really love it. They're not overly themed. There's only a couple that are super specific. Otherwise, it's like, you know, XO and I Love You and Love Day and all of that good stuff. So totally appropriate for, you know, us going on a date, if you will. So yeah, kind of fun. I have this habit, good, bad, or indifferent, is I like to put any sticker that I used on some scrap white cardstock first. Partially because I think it gives it a bit of dimension, in my mind it does, but also because I just like to be able to move them around as if they're a die cut. Seldom do I ever directly stick a sticker right onto something unless it's like the final touches of a puffy sticker or something. So you can see here, that's all I'm doing, is I just put the phrases that I chose from the I Adore You stickers, and I'm just cutting them out. So I'm not changing the shape or anything. I'm just merely backing them on white cardstock so I can move them around and so that they come off the page a little bit more. And I find with a sticker, especially when you're putting them on something so textured like a cut file, if you don't back them, then they kind of get the shape of the cut file below them, and that annoys me for some reason. So it's sort of a habit I've taken on. I think I learned it from my sister, to be honest. She puts everything that is sticky on cardstock first. So just looking to see if there's any more here. I realize how messy my space is. I can always tell when something's just really flowing and going because my space is like smaller and smaller and everything is kind of right in front of me. Whereas when a page isn't going so well, I kind of clean up in between ideas and move things around a lot. So this one just seemed to come together. I think it was that, the green background with the sequin mix, and then, yeah, it just sort of inspired that monochromatic look. So I did debate there these little white acrylic clouds from Elle Studio to put them in there, but I had them sort of earmarked in my mind for a page of my niece or nephew, so they weren't good enough on here for me to kind of forfeit the plan that I had for another page, so I did not end up putting them on there. So this is me. The lighting's changed a little bit. I apologize. It is the next day here, and so the sun is coming through a different window, but hopefully you can still see it okay. So I'm back, and I am literally gluing things down without moving them, trying my best to kind of put a thumb or a finger somewhere and lifting up just the edge to glue. always a risk. I find sometimes I do take a photo and then unlayer everything and then put it all back together, gluing it, but it never seems to look quite the same for some reason, even though it probably is. So you can see I'm a little nervous there every time I like open up my hands. So I am just going through and just gluing all these little bits down, and I'm like so close to being done. It's just crazy. Love how fast this comes together when everything just matches. It's a benefit, I think, too, of just being inspired by the color or the intent of a sequin mix, because then you know, I pull out the sequin mix and then I kind of walk around my scrapbook room and compare it to things and think of what it looks good with, and then I pull out my product before I even sit down and play. It's not like I start with this, you know, I start playing and then I'm like, oh, what goes with this? I kind of make almost like a little sequin mini kit, if you will. So it makes it really fun and easy, and I find I just get these pages done super quick versus sitting down, you know, without any inspiration or just a photo, and then I feel like I'm auditioning all product instead of, you know, based on the sequin mix product. So there's me still continuing to try and put things down without moving anything, and my space I see is getting smaller and smaller. I just love these acrylics. They're super light. They've really got some good dimension to them, but not so much that, you know, kind of throws your page off. There's me not wanting to pick anything up as I stick it down. So I will fast forward here in a second. But I wonder if it's the same. And the best is about 2 seconds from here, I have basically a glue meltdown. I run out of glue in my fine line bottle. I grab my Tombow glue, which is totally out of glue, and then I need to go find my Nouveau Dots glue. Yes, I have that many different glues. And then the top I had left open, so then it was dry, and oh my gosh, here is my problem. Now I'm like trying to find other glue. And you can never leave the lid off of your fine line bottle, because then it will close up. So yeah, so you can see there, you missed the Tombow trial, and then you missed me sticking a pin in my Nouveau Dot so it would work again. So a little bit of a fast forward. So here I am, everything else is glued down. I'm just going to put the acrylics down and then look for any final embellies. And I just use glue dots or zots to put down acrylic. I put them in a whole bunch of places as I find them a little bit heavy, if you will. And then like I don't care if I use 5 or 10 on them, just as long as it sticks to the page. And then I did go back through and I put a quick staple into the top of that tag, just to bring in the staples that I had used around the outside of it to make it look kind of planned, not that I was cheating and not sewing it on. And then earlier you saw when I was sewing, the sewing machine was still there. I did take a few of the sequins out of the Green Galore mix before I poured the rest of it into my big shaker pocket. And I do that just so I have a couple of spares, just a few, like 10, so that I can just put them on the layout almost like enamel dots. I use them the very same way I use enamel dots. Just a little dab of glue, I push the sequin straight into it. Often you'll see the glue through the sequin and around it, and I don't worry about it because it dries clear. So the more, kind of almost the more the better, because you don't want your, you know, to go back and you're looking in your album and every sequin page ends up being a sequin shaker page because they've all fallen off to the bottom. But I haven't had the problem because I just glue them quite a bit. So these are the Elle Studio. Again, these are just her puffy heart stickers, and they're just fabulous. Every color that of kind of Elle's rainbow, if you will, because she has very particular colors that she uses. And I just found a couple of places to put them. Did a little bit of a double heart there on the love tag, and then another extra little green heart down at the bottom. And then I really wanted to use, and you've seen me try and use this a couple times already on the page, is it says best day ever. I think it's best day or best day ever. I think it's best day ever. This little green phrase, like I was just keen to do it, and I felt like that little spot on the tag right by the photo, you can see me shake the shaker because that's fun. It just needed something, and so I wasn't quite, something was missing. So I pulled in some of my black floss string, I guess, to put in the tag, which I thought looked good because the little phrase stickers have black writing on them. So like kind of bringing in the black, now that's in sort of a triangle. And then I went back to the acetate hearts that are also from Elle Studio. You saw me try those out a few times, and the tag showed too much through for you to really get kind of the bang for the acetate buck, if you will. So I ended up going back to the phrase stickers that were in the I Adore You stickers and just took the little XO and put it there. And then I end up coming back to the Best Day Ever, that green one that I keep going back to. There was like an edge of one piece and another that you could see just underneath the XO that didn't look quite finished to me, and I wanted to cover it. So I used that Best Day Ever, but I think what was bothering about me originally was just a little bit too long for the space that I needed. So I just cut off didn't change any of the words. It still says Best Day Ever, but I just took off the extra green on each edge. So that is my layout. Didn't take long at all. It is a 12 by 12 sequin shaker pocket using the Green Galore mix and a Studio Calico pre-cut cut file, and then the very packaging from that cut file to make it a sequin shaker pocket, just sewed together. Thank you so much for watching. Please do stop by the Spiegelmom Scraps shop and use Brande 15 for 15% off your next order. Have a wonderful May. Thanks.